An arrest has been made in the deadly shooting that claimed the life of Dallas rapper ZeeTheWizard, but the full story is still unfolding. What began as a New Year's celebration ended in gunfire, multiple victims, and a young artist fighting for his life. A case that left more questions than answers from the very start. Authorities say they now have someone in custody in connection with the shooting of Zachary Fields. But how it all happened, who was involved, and what led up to that moment remain unclear. As new details continue to surface, investigators believe this arrest could be the key to understanding a night that went from celebration to tragedy in seconds. And what comes next may change how this entire case is seen. By the time ZeeTheWizard arrived at the nightclub, the energy was already high. New Year's celebrations had spilled into the early hours of the morning, and the parking lot outside was crowded with people coming and going. Music, laughter, and late-night conversations filled the air. The kind of scene that felt loud but normal for a holiday night in Dallas. But according to investigators, that atmosphere shifted fast. Somewhere in the parking lot, an argument or confrontation reportedly sparked. Exactly how it started is still unclear, but what's known is that multiple people pulled out weapons, and gunfire erupted almost without warning. What had been a celebration turned into pure confusion as people ran for cover. In the middle of that chaos, ZeeTheWizard was struck. Others were hit too, leaving the scene overwhelmed with screams, flashing lights, and sirens. And while many would later ask how it escalated so quickly, the truth is that the most critical moments happened in seconds. Moments that would change several lives forever, and mark the beginning of an investigation that was only just getting started. As the gunfire stopped, the reality of what had just happened set in. Emergency crews rushed to the scene, finding multiple victims wounded in the parking lot. The situation was described as frantic, with bystanders trying to process what they had just witnessed while first responders worked against the clock. ZeeTheWizard was transported to the hospital in critical condition. At the time, details about his injuries were kept quiet, and supporters held on to hope that he would pull through. Updates were scarce, and social media quickly filled with prayers, speculation, and conflicting reports about his condition. For several days, he remained hospitalized, fighting for his life. Friends and fans waited for good news that never came. On January 5th, the worst fears were confirmed. ZeeTheWizard had passed away from his injuries. What began as a chaotic New Year's celebration had now turned into a homicide case, and the focus shifted from survival to accountability. And as investigators dug deeper, it became clear that this story was far from over. As the shock settled in, investigators began piecing together what really happened in that parking lot. Witness statements, cell phone videos, and surveillance footage quickly became the center of the case. What initially looked like a chaotic exchange soon started to form a clearer picture. According to police, new footage showed a man standing unusually close to ZeeTheWizard in the moments before the shots rang out. That detail changed everything. Authorities say this evidence helped them zero in on a suspect, 24-year-old Damian Roberson. Days later, Roberson was taken into custody and formally charged with murder in connection with Fields' death. The arrest sent shockwaves through the Dallas music scene and online communities following the case. For many, it brought a sense of relief that the investigation was moving forward. For others, it raised even more questions. How did these two cross paths that night? Was ZeeTheWizard the intended target, or was he caught in something bigger than himself? Police have remained careful with what they've released, making it clear the case is still unfolding. But with an arrest now made, the story shifted once again, from confusion and grief to a deeper examination of motives, relationships, and what might have led up to that fatal moment. And as the internet began digging on its own, a new wave of rumors started to surface. Once the arrest became public, the conversation online took a sharp turn. Fans and followers began digging into old photos, comments, and connections, trying to understand how this could have happened. Rumors started circulating almost immediately, with some people claiming the suspect, and ZeeTheWizard may have known each other before that night. A few images shared across social media fueled that speculation, leading some to believe there was more history between them than police have confirmed. Others suggested ZeeTheWizard may not have been the original target at all, and that he was caught in the middle of a situation that spiraled out of control. But it's important to be clear, none of this has been officially verified. Investigators have not confirmed any prior relationship, motive, or intent, and reports so far only reflect what's been said online and by unnamed sources. Still, the unanswered questions continue to keep the case in the spotlight. And while speculation spreads fast, the truth often moves slower. What's certain is that the full story hasn't been told yet, and what comes next could change how this entire case is understood. As news of the arrest spread, the focus shifted back to the life that was lost. In Dallas, the impact was immediate. Fans gathered online to share clips of ZeeTheWizard's music, while friends and fellow artists posted memories that painted a picture far different from the headlines. To many, he wasn't just a rapper. He was someone who showed love to his city and the people in it. Those closest to him spoke about his generosity and the way he always tried to uplift others. Friends described him as genuine and selfless, someone who would help without being asked. That reputation made his passing hit even harder, especially for young artists who saw him as proof that it was possible to come up without losing yourself. The tragedy also reignited conversations around safety in nightlife spaces and the risks artists face outside the studio. Many questioned how a celebration could turn deadly so fast, and whether more could be done to prevent moments like this. And while the community continues to mourn, one thing is clear. ZeeTheWizard's absence left a void that can't be filled. But the final chapter of this story still hadn't been written. What happened to ZeeTheWizard is more than just a headline or a case number. It's a reminder of how fragile momentum can be and how quickly a life filled with plans, talent, and purpose can be taken away. A night meant for celebration turned into a moment that reshaped an entire community and cut short a future many believed was just getting started. As the legal process moves forward, the questions remain, not just about who's responsible, but about how situations like this keep happening and what gets lost every time they do. Behind the rumors, the footage, and the court documents was a real person, with real people who loved him. If this story made you think, sparked questions, or made you see things differently, keep that conversation going. Remember the name, remember the life, and pay attention to what comes next. Because sometimes the stories that matter most don't end when the video does.